Welcome into Outkick the Show, boys and girls. My name is Clay Travis. Here on Outkick the Show, we are presented by the good folks at sportsbookreview.com. Go check it out for all of your gambling and informational related needs. That's sportsbookreview.com. They will get you hooked up. They will take care of you. They will ensure that you get the best possible number on many of these preseason NFL games, which if you're anything like me, you'll be betting some of them. You might even put together a parlay card because you're so desperate for football to have returned. Go to sportsbookreview.com. My guy, Ryan Kelly, since we're talking about charity, not the kind of guy to bring attention to himself, but I just gave $5,000 to his charity foundation yesterday. That means I probably gave more percentage of my income just in that one donation than LeBron James has actually given for his school. But I gave $5,000 because he's climbing a mountain and he's trying to raise $50,000 for cancer charity and awareness. And he also happens to run an incredibly successful business. It's called The Home Loan Expert. He's also raising money against Duchenne muscular dystrophy. FightDMD.com. A lot of awesome events. Cardinal Glennon Hospital in St. Louis. 5 different charities he's raising money for. I'm telling you, he's an awesome dude. If you need to get a mortgage anywhere in the country right now, go to thehomeloanexpert.com right now. It'll get you pre-qualified. If you have a lot of credit card debt, he will wipe it out all in one fell swoop. And like I said, he's out at Yosemite. I don't even know the mountain peak that he's climbing, but it's going to take like 4 days and he might die. And he's doing it all for charity. That's my guy, Ryan Kelly. Go to thehomeloanexpert.com. All right. Last week, everybody fell all over themselves to call LeBron James a modern-day Mahatma Gandhi. I'm not sure that there has been anybody in the history of sports media who has gotten more favorable attention over the past several years than LeBron James. You'll recall that last year, a little over a year ago, LeBron James comes out and compares himself to Emmett Till because he alleges that somebody wrote a racial slur on his $21 million gate of his LA mansion. Okay? There is zero evidence this actually happened. Nobody else in the media, in sports media anyway, thinks it's ridiculous that LeBron James compares an alleged racial slur, which there is no evidence it actually happened, on his $21 million second home LA mansion, to Emmett Till being brutally murdered in the 1950s during the Civil Rights Movement. They asked LeBron, what did you think of when you heard that there had been a racial slur scrawled on your gate? He said, it reminded me, the first thing I thought of was Emmett Till. The first thing you thought of when a racial slur, which probably didn't even happen because the LA police have said there's no evidence it actually happened, was scrawled on your $21 million mansion gate, was this reminds me of a teenager being lynched in 1950s Mississippi. And nobody in the media was like, hey, Bron, just want to back up here a minute. Did you just compare something that didn't happen on your LA mansion gate to the brutal murder of a teenager who did nothing wrong in Mississippi? And expect for everybody to do what they did and stand up and say, oh, bravo, LeBron. You are such a brave, unbelievable, unrelenting hero. LeBron James is a lot like Urban Meyer. He's a fraud, okay? He sells one thing and he does another. And they're very good at what they do. Urban Meyer's a great college football coach. LeBron James is a great basketball player. But they're not content with that. They have to also let you know that they are great human beings. And by and large, the media will allow that false sell to actually take place. Last week I was on vacation, so I wasn't paying a lot of attention to the details surrounding LeBron James and his school. Everywhere I went, LeBron James is building a school in Akron. LeBron James has got a school. I'm going to show up on CNN. I'm going to do a sit-down interview on ESPN. I'm going to talk all about my school. And I just saw the headlines. I didn't read anything about it. I was on vacation. I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. Good for LeBron James. And then this week, the news starts to trickle out that nobody in sports media asked at ESPN, that nobody at all at CNN, Don Lemon extraordinaire, asked. Wait a minute, LeBron. You are actually taking credit for a taxpayer-funded school as if you have built it yourself. In fact, as Cleveland.com just reported, 75 to 80% of the yearly costs are being paid by Cleveland area taxpayers. LeBron James is only paying $500,000 a year for this school, and everybody else out in the media who covered this, you would think that LeBron James has made an unbelievable financial commitment. The dude is going to make $40 million this year. That is the equivalent of you or me donating $500 if we were making $40,000 a year. Is my math there correct? I think my math is there correct. If you make $40 million and you give away $500,000 of it, that's fine. But I have donated a higher percentage of my personal income to charity this year than LeBron James has. Many of you have done the same. That's $40 million a year just in basketball. As many of you are pointing out, he's making tens of millions of dollars a year from Nike too. So the reality is LeBron James's actual income is probably something like $70 million. $500,000 is a pinprick to LeBron James. I thought LeBron James had built this entire school. And people say, what do you think? That he was going to build a whole school? Yeah. Rich people build schools all the time. That's how private schools in high school are typically endowed. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. You want to talk about big helicopter dick moves? Tommy Frist of the Frist family first offered $100 million to Montgomery Bell Academy to go co-ed. Okay, he said, I will give you $100 million if you will go co-ed and admit my granddaughters. MBA thought about it. It's an illustrious private school in Nashville. And instead, they decided to stay all boys. So Tommy Frist founded Innsworth High School, which is already one of the most elite high schools in the country. And he built the entire school out in a farm outside of Nashville. He created a school that didn't exist. He funded it. And it's now one of the most elite academic and athletic institutions in the entire country. People found universities, sometimes in past history, and high schools all the time. LeBron James took credit for Akron, Ohio taxpayers funding his school. Everybody showed up. CNN, Don Lemon sits down. Rachel Nichols sits down at ESPN. They all fawn over LeBron James like he's Mahatma Gandhi, like he has just descended from the heavens and bequeathed this unbelievable gift. The reality is there's already questions inside of Akron about whether they can afford to keep running this school and whether LeBron is actually going to fulfill his obligations. As if that weren't enough, I started doing more research. I felt like I was going down into the rabbit hole once more where you find all these fundamental untruths. There's been tons of reporting over the past several years about how LeBron James has donated $40 million in scholarships to the University of Akron for any school, for any kids who can qualify. The fine print on this deal is unbelievable. The University of Akron is giving away those scholarships. They are funding them. A public state institution, and LeBron James has gotten all the credit as if he is paying $40 million out of his own pocket. right now while you are on this show, go on another electronic device and type in LeBron James 41 million or just LeBron James college scholarships. Your entire screen will fill with reports that LeBron James has given away $41 million in college scholarships. No. The University of Akron is giving away the scholarship, just like the taxpayers of Akron, Ohio, are paying for LeBron James's school. How does this happen? It's a question I asked last week. By the way, if I didn't say this, you would never hear it. You would never hear anybody with a prominent voice in sports media talk about this because everybody else evidently is afraid of LeBron James. How is it that a story like this can go viral, that he can have sit-down interviews with Rachel Nichols, that Don Lemon can do a sit-down interview with him, and nobody can actually look at the data underlying these donations and say, yeah, LeBron, it's good. Look, I'm not saying that helping is a bad thing, but I am saying you don't deserve to get credit for something that you have a very small role in. Okay? That would be like, I can't even think of the equivalent. That would be like me who made a donation to the Vanderbilt University Law School saying, well, thanks to me, that Vanderbilt endowment's really grown a lot this year. No, I was a small pinprick of it. I helped. It's better to help than not help. But this idea that LeBron James has done something that nobody else has ever done before, LeBron James is playing the media like a fiddle. He gets them to write whatever he wants them to write because everybody is so afraid of raising their hand and actually asking, you know what, can you show the work here? Somebody just sent me the info on LeBron James and his family foundation. By the way, the other thing you should know about this is LeBron James himself is not paying. The LeBron James Foundation is, which means LeBron is raising money from other people to pay for his school and also to fund all of his charitable work, and then he's getting credit for it as if he were making all of these donations. The LeBron James Foundation, the LeBron James Family Foundation, they have to file tax returns. Right now, they only have $1.8 million in assets. It's a tiny foundation when you consider the size of many foundations, like the Warren Buffett's foundation, Bill Gates' foundation. Those dudes have pledged every dollar that they have. Mark Zuckerberg. They have all pledged their entire wealth, essentially, to be given away when they die and over the course of their life. Bill Gates is trying to cure malaria. The LeBron James Foundation only has $1.8 million in revenue. And in the last year, they only did $3.5 million in total revenue. So they have, according to the most recent documents, $1.8 million on the books, and they did $3.5 million total in revenue. This is like the Office episode, Scott's Tots. Do you remember when Michael Scott told that classroom of kids in Scranton, Pennsylvania, that he would pay for all of their college educations? One of the funniest television episodes in the history of the medium. You got to go back and watch this episode. LeBron James is Michael Scott. He's so desperate to be liked that he is doing things without actually putting the money behind them. LeBron James is potentially on the hook for $40 million, which he doesn't control at all. It's just the University of Akron giving away scholarships. And LeBron James is getting the credit for it. Furthermore, there's no telling how much of a tax deduction he's getting here. Because if somebody, I don't know how the taxes work on the LeBron James Foundation, but LeBron James is only paying $500,000 a year for his school to fund it, around 25% at most of the yearly operating cost. And other people are giving the money to him to fund it through his foundation. So he's getting all of the credit, and he may not even have to put his own dollar in. Now, you may be sitting around right now thinking about this, and I think it's a fair question. What is the role of the sports media? Shouldn't the sports media exist to hold powerful people accountable and to be skeptical? Everything that Donald Trump does gets written about a billion times over. Every single utterance of Donald Trump is scrutinized and examined by the media that covers Donald Trump. The amount of coverage that Donald Trump's tweet got about LeBron James versus the amount of coverage that LeBron James actually not doing very much in charitable work is like 4 billion to 1, okay, in terms of ad impressions and amount of coverage. I have been critical many times of sports media members, and I'm one of them, and I'm far from perfect. But compare how every NFL owner gets covered with how LeBron James gets covered. There's no comparison. The NFL, its players, its owners, its teams get grilled to the nth degree over everything that they say. Every little word that an NFL owner says, you would think that they have just come down and it's the Sermon on the Mount. I think Roger Goodell has done a mediocre job as NFL commissioner, but I don't blame him for being terrified to talk to the media because inevitably he screws up and everybody rips him. The NBA gets covered like it's the equivalent of the NFL, which it's not. But it gets covered as if it's the equivalent of the NFL, except everybody who covers the NBA walks around with pom-poms all day, praising the NBA. Nobody rips the NBA. Nobody rips an NBA player. Other than for things like, oh, I can't believe this player made the decision to go to X team. When's the last time Adam Silver got scrutinized for anything? When's the last time somebody called Adam Silver to task for a single issue? Now, you can argue, oh, he's perfect. When's the last time that anybody other than me said, hey, wait a minute, what happened with that racist graffiti with LeBron James? What happened with that LeBron James school? What happened with this $41 million in scholarships that he's supposedly given? The role of the media should be, I believe, to hold powerful people accountable. Now, you don't have to like me at all. But I think if you watch this show or you listen to it or you read what I do, I think you would have to say, Clay Travis doesn't pull punches. I tell you exactly what I think every day. I'm not on here trying to make friends. I'm not on here trying to curry favor with powerful people. I tell you every day exactly what I think. How is it that nobody who covers the NBA actually looked into LeBron James's charity? How is it that yesterday, when I merely shared an article from the Cleveland newspaper examining this, and credit to the Cleveland newspaper for doing this, I got called racist to the high heavens. You can go look through all my comments. How dare you, people said, say something other than a positive thing about LeBron James. You are racist. And probably I would be sexist if LeBron James were a girl. The truth of the matter is this. I ain't the New York Times. I don't make excuses for people based on what their race is or what their gender is or what genitals they have or who they like to sleep with. I treat every single person every single day long the exact same, regardless of where they're from, regardless of what their parents did, regardless of anything around them, with one exception. I treat good-looking women better than I do ugly women and every dude. It's the truth of the matter. I will readily acknowledge my bias. I am a 100% card-carrying member of the hot girl privilege bias factory. I will give a benefit of the doubt to a hot girl at the drop of a hat that I would never give to an ugly person or to a dude. Zero doubt. That's the facts. That is the only bias that I will acknowledge. But how is it that all of these people are afraid of actually speaking truth to power? I'll tell you. Because if you're going to be Rachel Nichols and LeBron James is going to sit down and talk to you, the truth of the matter is this: when it comes to sports media, access is handcuffs. You can't say what you actually think, because that athlete will keep score, and he and his crew will come back and they will say, we're not talking to you. You haven't fluffed me enough this year. You haven't talked me up enough. You haven't blown me up into a Leviathan. You have not sold me to everyone as much as you should have in order for me to talk to you. And this happens all the time on my radio show. Guys, this happened recently. John Calipari, promoting his book, wants to go on every national radio show he can. Come on your show? Yeah, sure. I'll have him on. What happens? John Calipari finds out he's coming on my show, won't do it. Says, no, I don't want to do it. I can't do it with Clay Travis. Why not? Because I call his bullshit. That's why I don't have that many coaches or players on my show, because I think the value of a show like mine is not to come around and ball wash all day long. I think it's to actually speak truth to power. And so why is it that NBA players like LeBron James have no criticism? LeBron James makes up fake racism on his gate. No evidence it ever existed. LAPD tells me there's no evidence it ever happened. Nobody ever raises an issue. Michael Bennett sits down, exclusive interviews, NBC, everybody out there. Nobody ever brings up the fact that he made up a fake racist incident and called 3 minority police officers in Las Vegas racist, even though there was no evidence to support it. The media does not call balls and strikes. They call balls and strikes as it benefits them or as it reflects their worldview. And once you see this, it becomes a real issue. The sports media is not standing behind the plate saying that's a ball, that's a strike, treating everybody the same. They're standing there saying, well, I think that's a strike, but I probably shouldn't say it's a strike because I want LeBron James to come on my show next year. That's Rachel Nichols. So I'm going to call it a ball. Oh, LeBron, you're a saint. It's unbelievable what you've done. You're basically Mahatma Gandhi in sneakers. That decision when Nike pays you tens of millions of dollars a year and you wore those equality sneakers that were made with slave labor overseas, and you were like, we got to be equal. It was so brave of you to let those slave laborers overseas make you your equality sneakers. You are the most woke. You're the wokest. You're the modern day Muhammad Ali. Ball washing. It's going on all day. Guarantee that's the way you get the interview. And then the other thing is, in addition to the ball washing, you got the worldview. Oh, America's an awful place. The vast majority of the sports media out there believes that America is an awful place. And so every story has to reflect that America is an awful place. Good stories, they don't get a lot of attention. But LeBron James fake racism, oh my God, he's Emmett Till. This is just like Emmett Till, except, LeBron's alive. And except, LeBron wasn't lynched. And except, instead of going to Mississippi to visit relatives, LeBron James's $21 million mansion was involved. Second home. Other than that, this is basically the same thing as Emmett Till. Nobody calls out absurdities like this. And I don't know what the answer is completely, but I will say this. It's not even every sports league that gets this treatment. The NFL and its owners and its commissioner gets dragged over the ground and stomped on and cursed and kicked and spit on like nobody's business by the media that covers the NFL. You would think that Jerry Jones pulled out a gun and started shooting at his players based on the way the media covered him when he said, guess what, we're going to stand for the national anthem. Dak Prescott said, you know what, I'm the kind of guy who stands for the national anthem. And you would have thought that he came out in favor of slavery, the way that the media covered him. It was unbelievable. They're not calling balls and strikes, guys. and girls. They are using their worldview and their quest for access to justify what happens, and they're not even being even across different sports leagues. College football. Urban Meyer is getting crushed right now. I think deservedly so. Everybody is diving into every aspect of Urban Meyer's background when it comes to this Zach Smith's case. What did Courtney Smith tell him? What's known here? Is he going to keep his job? Is he going to get suspended? He's in the same state as LeBron James. Why is the same sports media going after Urban Meyer, not going after this LeBron James story just as aggressively? All of these questions. Why are some sports covered aggressively? Why are others not? This is a great stat for you. The NBA, the way the media covers it, you would think that the NBA is basically the equivalent of the NFL. It's a pinprick of the NFL. The NBA isn't even anywhere near as good in its local markets as Major League Baseball. My guy Mike Mulvihill just tweeted this out, and I thought it was an amazing stat. And it's utterly interesting. There are 17 markets that have both a Major League Baseball team and an NBA team. The Major League Baseball team outrates the NBA team in 14 of the 17 markets in those cities and wins by an average of 107% ratings across all 17 markets. How many people out there do you see ball washing and fluffing Major League Baseball on a regular basis? Major League Baseball dunks all over the NBA, all balls in the face style. People have a flaw in the way they think. This is all people, and you have to fight it. When you get information, you have to catalog it and immediately allow it to process and then reassess what your opinion is. I don't know if I do this uniquely or if it's my legal training, but if you're a lawyer and a new court ruling comes down, you got to be able to analyze that new court ruling and contextualize what it means very quickly. And then you have to adjust your argument based on that new data point. I try to constantly look at all the data, and there's like a fire hose of data every day, right? And come up with opinions that are justified by the data, that are real, concrete facts. A lot of other people, I think, in media, and certainly a lot of fans who are in the sports industry, they use whatever they already think and then go pick and choose random bits of data to reflect that. This is my biggest issue with Trump, to the extent that I have any. We have to have agreed upon facts. You might not agree with my facts, but in order for me to reach a conclusion, we have to be able to have a basic understanding of facts. And what I have found happening more and more in sports, over and over and over again, is that in sports, facts don't matter. Or even worse, facts are racist, or facts are sexist, or you can't have that debate, or you can't talk about that. LeBron James is incredibly powerful. He is going to be a billionaire. He should have his feet held to the fire, and there should be a deep dive into his finances, and people should say, wait a minute, why did we give LeBron James credit for $41 million in scholarships when the University of Akron is actually providing those scholarships? Why did we give LeBron James credit for opening a school when 80% of the cost, potentially, 75 to 80% of the cost of that school is being paid by taxpayers who don't have anywhere near his money in Akron, Ohio, and he just shows up for the first day of school and does an interview with Don Lemon at CNN and Rachel Nichols at ESPN, and nobody out there actually focuses on the facts. I think all that matters to a great degree, because right now LeBron James is spinning to his heart's content this idea that he is a saint, and nobody is actually calling him on it. If he wants to donate $40 million in scholarships, do it. Stroke a check. Make it happen. You've got the money to do it, and it wouldn't even dent your overall net worth. If he wants to fund an entire school, do it. Make a helicopter dick move. Tons of men and women all over this country have actually started their own schools, not funded a grade of a public school, and gotten credit for the school being named after them. Right now, LeBron James and his charity work is as fraudulent as LeBron James is on the basketball court when he tries to draw a charge and he barely gets touched by an opposing player. LeBron James sold us a bill of goods, and most of the sports media out there not only bought what he was selling, they took it to you and they sold it to you and they took advantage of your willingness to believe them. That, I think, is utterly indefensible. I keep trying to tell you every single day the truth. It's what I do on this show. If you enjoy it, share it. My name's Clay Travis. Outkick the Show. I do it every single afternoon on this show. Although maybe later this week I'm not going to be able to because I'm recording the audio version of my book, which is going to be out in September, called Republicans Buy Sneakers 2. I like Mike. I'm a Jordan guy. Simply because I don't remember Michael Jordan ever claiming to put a lot of kids through college. I also don't remember Michael Jordan ever claiming to start a school that he didn't. I think that LeBron James is Michael Scott 2.0, not LeBron James, not Michael Jordan 2.0. Love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. It's been Outkick the Show. DBAP, boys and girls. Also SBAP. I'll see you tomorrow. This has been Outkick the Show.